So fight in February continues, and after Eubank Jr.'s points win over Liam Williams, which was predicted here, and after the great win by John Ryder last night over Danny Jacobs, which was predicted here, you could call that a hometown decision. You know, I mean, it was very, very close. I think it could have gone either way, but it was in a way nice to see the karma gods of boxing repay Ryder, who's been on the end of some dodgy decisions. Well, not dodgy decisions, but you know, didn't get the rub of the green a few times. Anyway, now we move on to Khan v Brook on Saturday the 19th of February up in Manchester. Now, interestingly enough, when you know, we were all sort of salivating waiting for February when we had that January hiatus from Pro Boxing in the UK, and of all these matches, I was looking at Khan v Brook and I was thinking, you know, that's the one that excites me the least. But it's got to be said that this has captured the public's imagination. You know, it sold out of tickets in 10 minutes. It's on Sky Boxing pay-per-view, and maybe, you know, it has a grudge match and so on and so forth. It has excited the public in a way that maybe Ryder Jacobs didn't. You know, and it's getting a lot more column inches. So we kind of got to look at what we got here. I mean, interestingly enough, the reason it didn't appeal to me was because we were seeing this as two fighters past their prime, you know, contending against each other. Now, interestingly enough, when we say they're past their prime, they're both 35. You know, when we look at, you know, the premier leader in the welterweight division, you know, you've got Terence Crawford up there at 34. You know, and we think of Crawford as absolutely in his prime. So, you know, it's interesting age in boxing, but these guys are definitely seen as kind of past it. We'll recap on their careers in a bit, but, you know, they've kind of shadowed each other their whole careers, I suppose, and, you know, arguably their whole lives. So, you know, I think this is why it's kind of unfinished business. So they both sort of come back for this fight. So let's break down and see what we've got. So it's Khan v Brook. So, I mean, Amir Khan, I suppose we all know about, you know, he was the golden child at the 2004 Olympics, came through winning silver there, losing the final to, you know, the great Mario Kindelin, and then launched his pro career in 2005, you know, raced to some great victories, came unstuck a bit, you know, against Brendan Prescott. That's when we started to maybe question the chin, but rebuilt very successfully, and then was world champion from 2009 until 2011 when he lost to Lamont Peterson. That was kind of Khan's, I think, golden age, 2009 to late 2011, until that loss to Peterson. You know, he was really at the top of his game, you know, a really sort of credible world champion, went over to America, built himself up, got some amazing, great fights. After the Peterson fight came the Danny Garcia fight, another KO loss. And, you know, since then, he's kind of, you know, he's been around, he's been at the top of the tree. He's been, you know, he boxed Canelo in 2016 and lost to him. And, you know, then finally he did meet up with Crawford in 2019, in April 2019, and lost to him. You know, I mean, obviously that's, you know, it's a bit unfair to recap on all his losses, but he's had those 5 losses, 4 of those by KO, you know, against those 34 wins with 21 KOs. So, you know, he's kind of seen as somebody who's, you know, definitely at the end of his career, and maybe he's looking for that last sort of big payday, although, you know, what he's going to do after boxing, as he himself admits, he doesn't know. But if we look at Kell Brook, I mean, Kell Brook, you know, 39-3, all those 3 losses have been stoppage losses. He's had 27 KOs himself. His greatest night was definitely against Sean Porter in 2014 when he went over and won the IBF welterweight title in Porter's backyard in Vegas. You know, a points decision, and that was really his highlight. Then he had 3 defences of that title before he moved up to middleweight and challenged the sort of fearsome Gennady Golovkin. He was stopped in that fight, and he suffered a cracked orbital bone. He came back down to welterweight, defend against Errol Spence, and it was a repeat of that, really. You know, Spence obviously targeted that area, and Kell was out again with that cracked orbital bone. So that was really, you know, that was 2016. Since then, he tried to rebuild. He had 3 fights at super welter up at 154, and he kind of drifted a bit. He got away from Matchroom. You know, he sometimes seemed a bit troubled in his personal life, and then he finally went over and negotiated himself a fight against Terence Crawford, and that was it. That was in 2019, and sorry, I beg your pardon, in December 2020, and he was stopped in 4 in that fight. He hasn't done anything since then, and he's now looking at Khan. You know, interestingly enough, Khan, since he was stopped by Crawford in April 2019, has had 1 fight against Billy Dibb, was a little bit farcical out in the Middle East, and so they both meet now. And so the big question that everybody's got to ask is, who's got the most left? I mean, I suppose, you know, the question is, who would have won in their prime? You know, the general feeling is that Khan had the speed and the skills, and you know, Brook had the strength and the power. So I suppose looking at this, you know, the bookmakers are making Kell Brook the favourite, and I suppose a bit of the thinking behind that is that really, you know, as you get older, the speed of reflexes go before the power goes. So, you know, if Khan is able to, if Brook is able to catch up with Khan, his power should be, you know, the deciding factor in this. So I'm going to go a bit against the bookies in this. I think Khan's speed is going to, is not going to have faded too much. And it's also about what ambition these guys have got left. That's, going to be a key factor. And that's difficult to pick through because, we're looking at a fight where we're saying, who has deteriorated the most. There is a rematch clause in this match, interestingly enough. Both fighters insist there is no need for a rematch clause, which makes you ask why one's there. But there it is. Khan has said that he's going to retire after this fight. He hasn't said win, lose or draw because he said there's no possibility of him losing. He sees Brook as him stepping down a couple of levels. He's going to school him. And like I say, this rivalry has been simmering for ages. They were both hoping to go to Athens in 2004. They were sparring each other and Khan was picked. And, the resentment has come from them. And those sparring sessions, Khan insists that he schooled Brook, and Brook insists that wasn't the case. But Brook always saw Khan as the golden child, got everything on a bit of a silver spoon, and he had to work harder for his recognition. So I think there's genuine rivalry there. And Khan has never really afforded Brook maybe the recognition that I think he deserves. Having gone away from home, won that world title. So they've got to settle it now. Like I say, this is a catchweight fight, so it's 149 pounds. It's 2 pounds above the welterweight limit, which arguably, who's that going to suit? They probably both can't make welter now. And Brook definitely, although he got down for the Crawford fight, looked very drained the last time he was out at welter. But again, like I say, it's who's got the most ambition left. Khan's saying he's definitely retired. Brook is saying he's not sure what he's going to do after this fight. We could say the loser is definitely retired. We'll have nowhere to go. The winner may have somewhere to go. Depends on the performance, or maybe the only way back is the rematch clause for another payday if it's a close fight. So I'm going to lean in this one. Again, I'm going to go against the bookies, and I'm going to lean towards Khan to take it on points. I think, he's going to target that eye of Brook. And I wonder what Brook's got left. I just think he's the more troubled soul out of the two. So that's my prediction is Khan on points. I think it'll be a decent fight, but, it's a shame it's coming so late. But like I said, they've shadowed each other all through their career. Oddly enough, you look at all the times this fight could have happened and then fell through. And obviously it's he said, she said for why it did fall through. But they're finally getting it together in a way because there's no one else out there to fight. And this fight is selling well. So it's going to be interesting to see how it goes and see if it does live up to the hype. But looking forward to it. So this Saturday, Khan v Brook. Let's see how it goes.